Hi guys, welcome. Gaz here. In this video then, I'm in the bayou back with Hunt Showdown. And as promised, I'm going to take you through the monsters you encounter in the game to date. Talking of bayou, check out the band Creedence Clearwater Revival. The song Born on the Bayou on YouTube. That's pretty cool. Anyways, I will say again, this game is a real adrenaline rush. Not quite like anything else I've played. Really immerses you in the hunt and being hunted. Okay, so with all this talk of monsters, I've got a joke. And it's going to be, on which day do monsters eat people? Come on, any ideas? Tuesday! I know, they only get worse. Right then, the monsters in the game are broken down into 4 different types. They are targets, infected, marked, and packs. In the infected category then, we have the slow moving and mostly human creatures called grunts. These are possibly the victims of a viral infection. I'm hoping that's not the coronavirus, which would be pretty bad. You can dispatch a grunt relatively quickly with a well placed headshot, or as I prefer, a melee weapon. However, in numbers you do need to be careful because they can easily overwhelm you. In the marked category then, we have 4 monster types, which are the Armoured, Hive, the Emulator, and Meathead. So here we have the Emulator. Now, the Emulator seems to be the most tormented of all the monsters. The smallest sort of movement sends him into a rage and he will attack you chaotically. And when shot, he burns even hotter and charges like an angry bull. He can be extinguished by water, by all accounts. But as I say, they are very difficult to kill otherwise. In this clip, I probably should have jumped into the water if they're extinguished by water. But just one thing as well to note about the Emulator is that they're the most intelligent of all the monsters currently on the map. Okay, next up we have the Hive. Now this Hive mother basically has a swarm of insects which are very poisonous that inhabit her body, and every time you get close the swarm will try and attack you and infect you with the poison. Now there's one way of stopping them, and that is by killing the Hive mother, and a good marksman should be able to get a shot to her head which will kill her. Here you can see me being attacked by the insect swarm and being poisoned, which leaves me, as you can see, totally disorientated to the point where I'm trying to kill the Hive mother, but I can't see where she is, and I end up dying. The Armoured then, as the name suggests, is a creature with an armoured shell. Now you can actually kill them with a rifle or a gun, but unfortunately it does take a number of shots, probably 4 or 5. Probably the best way to kill these is with a melee weapon, or certainly with fire. Now they do have a tendency to linger on doorsteps and around corners and behind doors. So always be aware of that. Next up then we have the Meathead and leeches. Now the Meathead is basically a bloated headless humanoid monster. Now it can take damage, but not from a fist or a blunt object, so sort of melee weapons are really out. Now it uses leeches to see as its sensory organs, because it hasn't actually got a head of its own. So if you can take out the leeches first of all, then obviously it allows the monster then can't actually see you, which is good. But also on top of that, you've got to be careful because the leeches do have their own poisonous bite and can kill you themselves. Probably the best way to dispose of these creatures is to use dynamite, or certainly some kind of fire, which will certainly take their life a lot quicker. So these creatures basically for me are probably some of the worst on the map, so I try and keep out of their way, or certainly use dynamite where I can. So whilst you're taking this Meathead footage then, I've got another joke. And it is, what kind of monster can sit on the end of your finger? And it is the Bogeyman! That concludes the mark category then, and we move on to the packs. To start us off then, we have the Hellhands. And these animals travel in packs of 2 or 4, or between 2 and 4. So you're not quite sure how many there is. And as I say, they can be quite vicious, and they do come at you normally together. So you really have to be on your best guard on this one. Coming up is a perfect example of where I only thought there was 2, and I waited patiently just to see if another one was coming out. And as you can see from the footage in a minute, one does actually try and get me by surprise. And once you've killed the Hellhound, don't forget to stop your bleeding, otherwise you will bleed out. To conclude the packs category then, we have the Water Devil, which is a swarm of smaller aquatic animals. And basically they seem to be able to sense the presence of anything entering the water and will be very quick and decisive in killing you. They are hard to kill themselves with bullets or any sort of melee attack. I tend to fire a bullet into them and then run for it. In this clip you can quite easily see how devastating they can be, taking quite a bit of life when you're trying to run through the water. Before we move on to the last category then, targets, look what I came across in the forest. A wheelbarrow with a rubber duck and 2 little dolls. Wonder if that could be an Easter egg. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. So, targets then. Targets are basically the monsters that you have to find to get your bounty. So you get your clues, and then eventually you find your target, and the targets can be 3 things: an assassin, a butcher, or a spider. So here we have the assassin. The assassin then is capable of splitting itself into several manifestations, and these manifestations basically try and distract you, attacking hunters independently, while the true assassin uses the opportunity to find the right moment to strike you down. At the end of the day, the best way to kill the assassin is when it's actually whole, and you can get a shot at its chest, which is a vulnerable point. In this clip, unfortunately, I wasn't too lucky, and the assassin killed me. Next then, we have the spider. So for all of those of you with arachnophobia, I suggest you look away now. The spiders in the game then are about the size of a horse, and they spit poison, just to make it that little bit more terrifying. The best thing to kill them then is, I would say, fire. Melee weapons will work. I'll tell you one thing that doesn't, and that is poison, probably because it is a poisonous, venomous creature itself. So here's my long-winded, pitiful attempt at trying to kill it. Finally got the bloody thing. To complete our monster collection then, we have the Butcher. The Butcher then has a huge bloated body and is a close relative of the Meathead. It's got bits of wood and metal protruding from its skin. It wears a leather apron covering the horrors of its torso and has the head of a pig. It has also a flaming hook and it is resistant to fire. And I find it really bloody difficult to kill, so any suggestions would be welcome. Now that didn't end too good, did it? Anyway, as part of this video I thought I'd also throw in scenario that I had when I was in a bell tower, and there was a number of hunters, and I just thought I would ring the bell and see who turned up. The bells! The bells! Well, that brings us pretty much to the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching and overdosing on Gaz. I'll see you next time.